sure you'll agree, we've done a fantastic job. The facilities are great. The fans...
They're noisy and they go like the wind. Join us for the first ever World Superbike Championship.
It all began at a packed Donington Park in 1988.
First ever World Superbike Championship race.
The first memories, the first heroes, the dream was real. Soon, some of those heroes became the first champions. The men who built the foundations of this journey. All that was missing was a king.
And Carl Fogarty, the new World Superbike champion. Fogarty over the line to take another double. Carl Fogarty is absolutely jubilant.
From there, everything became bigger, faster, louder, more intense, including the rivalries. When the king departed, the new millennium brought new heirs to the throne. New heroes, new showdowns, curtain calls and crowning moments.
I just wanted to be world champion so bad.
And so the cycle continued. Heroes arrived, conquered and departed. Some were fresh faces, others legends with a point to prove. Even as the world went through tough times, men and machine continued to thrive until the bar was raised again.
Jonathan Rea win the World Superbike Championship. History in the making for Jonathan Rea.
A record-breaking reign and a benchmark for the future.
Sorry, Kyle.
Two-time champion.
For over 37 years, across every corner of the earth, thousands of men and women have experienced every emotion possible. Tears, frustration, fear, relief. Sometimes just sitting back in awe.
Look at this, look at this. The control.
Be it in the grandstands, in the garages, or on board a 200+ horsepower monster of a machine. This has been a journey we've shared together, shoulder to shoulder and wheel to wheel. Today we celebrate each and every one of those 1,000 dreams. And we start working on the next 1,000.
"38 seasons, 1,094 riders, 83 race winners, 19 world champions, 54 race circuits, including Balaton Park, which debuted yesterday and now hosts World SBK 1000. From Tardozzi and Bimota to Razgatlioglu and BMW, we'll be dedicating the opening minutes of this programme to the generations of memories that you've just heard recapped by the greatest of all time, our only six-time world champion, Jonathan Rea. Alex Raby, 229 races, and Steve English, 302 not out, to bring you this morning's special milestone race. Steve already on the mic for World SBK's 700th, 800th and 900th. This, I suppose, is your testimonial season, so more than a quarter of World SBK's history. Give us some of your best memories.
I've got loads of good memories, and just watching back that video, you're actually brought back just being a kid. And I remember sitting at home watching it on Sky Sports, Julian Ryder and Keith Ewan, and it captivated you because back in the 90s, World SBK was fresh, it was new, and it really had some great battles, great characters, and it made me a fan of bike racing. And you look at it, 30 years later, I'm still here, still loving it as much as ever.
The build-up to this unique milestone has been a great opportunity to head back down memory lane with some of World SBK's classic races. And of course, from a British perspective, we've been inextricably linked to the big eras of the sport, from the inaugural race at Donington Park in 1988 through Carl Fogarty's wins from 92 to 99 via the famous Hockenheim 96, then Hodgson, Toseland, the likes of Assen 2007, Sykes with two incredibly close championship finales, and into the Jonathan Rea era. And as a commentator, an honour to call Rea's 6th world title, record breaker, and the emergence now of Toprak Razgatlioglu as the championship's new power. And from the box, my first season was 2019, so I've covered all of the Superpole races. Razgatlioglu's 16th to 1st at Magny-Cours in 2019, 2020 in Phillip Island with the podium finishers covered by less than a tenth of a second, all the way to Razgatlioglu's last bend effort on Alvaro Bautista last year. And of course, uniquely, the 1000th race falls this morning with the Tissot Superpole race. A few special touches planned. The earlier than usual start time here to facilitate a group photo to commemorate the occasion. We have a special set of Tissot Superpole Award trophies, and of course you'll see some of the visual hallmarks taking over from our regular graphics throughout. We're fortunate enough to have the top 3 all-time race winners in World SBK all on the grid here together. The so-called Titanic trio, who between them have won the last 10 world titles, led by the 6 gold medals of Jonathan Rea with his 119 career wins. Yesterday, Toprak Razgatlioglu moved on to 70 victories, 2 world crowns already under his belt, and he's on his way towards a 3rd this year. And Alvaro Bautista, race winner between 2019 and 2024 on no less than 63 occasions. And spare a thought for Carl Fogarty and Troy Bayliss on the all-time winners list. Razgatlioglu's won the Superpole race 25 times, Bautista 18 times, and that 3rd race per weekend was only added after Fogarty and Bayliss's retirement. Otherwise, they would still be 2nd and 3rd with their 59 and 52 wins respectively. But Steve, I've been waxing lyrical about the Superpole race. Has been a great edition. Already 75 of them or something for you to choose from, Steve?
Yeah, 75 was Donington, so we're into the 76 now. For me, Estoril last year is one that really stands out, just for the Razgatlioglu-Bulaga battle. And we saw Nico make that step to win one of those bar-to-bar battles with Toprak. And that was kind of a harbour of what we were going to see this year. We were able to see a rookie last year that really made his step forward. And it was that one race that really showed just how good a rider he is in the superbike class.
Jonathan Rea front and centre in that photograph, undoubtedly the greatest World SBK rider of all time, and still on the grid for this, his for the 1000th race. All-time appearance record holder Rea making his 458th start here, so even accounting for those 76 Superpole races, as you said, among that figure, he would still be top for race starts, with his career stretching all the way back to 2008. That was the last year for Troy Bayliss, as he bowed out as 3 times world champion and closed another chapter in the sport's history. Rea secured his first 15 wins with Honda, the rest of his record 119 victories in a 10-year spell with Kawasaki. Also top for podiums with 264. 58% of all his race starts have ended on the rostrum, and that's despite the 44 races with only 1 podium since moving to Yamaha. Rea's still an active rider, so won't be looking back at his numbers just yet, but not only has he dominated, even through a brief reverse grid format, he's had incredible longevity at such a high level.
Yeah, Rea's performances were standout for years, and the reason for that was when he first jumped onto a superbike when he was 16 in the British Championship, put it on pole as a rookie, and he was able to show that speed that we've seen over the years in the World Championship.
The 1000th race in World SBK history is the Tissot Superpole race at the 2025 Hungarian round. Several changes to the starting grid compared to yesterday's Superpole results as a result of injury withdrawals. Ika Lekwona is out. He originally qualified P6, so the rest of the field behind moves up a place. That moves Alvaro Bautista onto the 2nd row of the grid. Andrei Iannone is out. Remy Gardner is out from P11 and Garrett Gerloff from P14. So that will put Bahatin Sofoglu Kalioglu onto row 4, his best starting position yet. No movement in the top 5. This is the first time this season that Nicolo Bulliger has qualified off the front row. He starts P4 with Petrucci and now Bautista alongside him. Bulliger at real risk of losing positions in the early stages because sluggish starts have been a problem for him at these last 2 rounds. Toprak Razgatlioglu on pole, 22nd career pole by almost half a second in Super Pole yesterday. Led every lap of race 1 and set the fastest lap on his way to victory by a 4-second margin. The 15th different venue now where he's been a winner in World SBK, the 70th victory of his career.
Yeah, and yesterday we were able to see Toprak have a poor start in the initial getaway after the red flag. Didn't put a foot wrong, led from turn 1 all the way through to the end.
Back-to-back retirements for Sam Lowes, who's twice crashed out from second in race 2 of the UK round a fortnight ago, and in race 1 here in Hungary. The Mark VDS team subsequently announced a technical issue as the cause yesterday, but the Super Pole race, the perfect chance to bounce back, hasn't been out of the top 6 over 10 laps this season and has twice been a podium finisher in this format. Andrea Locatelli will complete the front row of the grid. 4th place yesterday, the 37th time in his career he's finished in 4th. That's more than a 5th of all the races he started. He's 6th such finish of this season and 4th in the last 5 races. Podium finisher at the Super Pole race at the Emilia-Romagna round. Hasn't been out of the top 5 in his last 7 World SBK rides.
Yeah, teams usually pay the bonus money for the podiums, not the top 5s, and Locke with all those 4th place finishes, he's left a fair bit of money on the table, but we've been able to see how competitive he is on that Yamaha. This weekend's shown that again. His Super Pole lap was really impressive to be on the front row.
Nicolo Bulliger has scored 90 points more at this stage of the season than he had at the same point last year. 8 wins to his name. He managed 6 in the whole of last season, but it still isn't enough. He trails Toprak Razgatlioglu by 9 points, and he looked downcast yesterday after a 5th consecutive second place. His last win 3 rounds ago at Most in May. The biggest overnight talking point from yesterday's action was a 7-rider pile-up at turn 2 on the opening lap of race 1 that forced out the red flags. Danilo Petrucci was obliged to start from the back of the grid at the restart after missing the pit exit by a few seconds following Barney's extensive repair job. Andrea Iannone was judged the instigator by race direction. He served a double long lap penalty for his part in the incident. Watch for the yellow Go 11 bike when we do see the replay. His back wheel will skip off the ground on the change of direction. He clouts the back of Petrucci. Lecuona skittled out of the way, and a secondary incident bringing down another 4 riders. And of the 7 involved, unfortunately 4 are out of the action today.
Yeah, I spoke to quite a few of the riders just in the mid-pack yesterday, and they said that it was one of those ones where there's just too much aggression going on down in towards this section. The run between turn 1 and turn 2 is so short. If that's maybe 100 metres further down, you probably avoid an incident like this. But we ended up where there was 2 separate incidents. There was the Iannone one, and then Ryan Vickers and Garrett Gerloff at the back of the field as well. So one of those situations where so many bikes trying to make their way through there, everyone has to be careful and aware of each other, but everyone's also trying to run their race and get themselves the best chance of moving up the field. Iannone was the instigator of the crash, got a double long lap penalty, and he's licking his wounds for today as well and forced to miss the action.
Yes, after a check-up last night, Andrea Iannone reassessed this morning, has been declared unfit with bruising to his neck and chest, a neck sprain and a right shoulder injury as well. Iannone not having the best of luck at the moment after sustaining a fractured right foot in Most. Of the 3 injury withdrawals, Iker Lecuonas is the most unfortunate. He put in a really strong Super Pole with P6, but he's now out with a double forearm fracture. Heading back to Valencia today, we're told, for his doctors to decide what to do next. Certainly the summer break has fallen at the right time to give him the chance to recover from that injury. Remy Gardner out with a suspected concussion and bruising to his back after he was collected in race 1. He really hasn't had much luck. That was his 7th retirement of the season. Garrett Gerloff finished race 1 in a creditable 9th place, but was subsequently declared unfit in the hours following the checkered flag. Symptoms of a lower back injury keeping him out of the saddle today. On with the grid and completing the second row, Alvaro Bautista, now only 10 points from the bronze medal ranking, on back-to-back podiums for the first time since Cremona. Race 1 delivered his 10th third-place finish of the season. He was 2.2 seconds behind Nicolo Bulliger by the end of lap 8. He was still 2.2 seconds from him at the checkered flag and set a better, fastest lap as well. So some signs of promise for Alvaro Bautista. Xavi Vierque, one of 4 riders involved in the battle for 7th place yesterday, eventually missed out but came home in 8th. Said afterwards he was struggling under braking, which usually is the strong point of the Honda. So some overnight work for HRC to do for their lone remaining rider today. This is Jonathan Rea. He was the 5th and final retirement from race 1 yesterday. Crashed from 8th on lap 15 at turn 1, remounted and crashed again a lap later at turn 4. The opening 3 laps running in the top 6, probably the only positives to take for Rea, and his determined scrap with Montella and Vierke for 7th before his falls.
Yeah, and for Johnny, in these changeable conditions, definitely a rider worth keeping an eye out for. We saw him make a fast start yesterday. We know how aggressive he is in the opening couple of laps. He'll view this as a real opportunity to spring a surprise.
Yes, remember what he was able to do in Assen in the Superpole session there last year. I'm sure he will have been doing a rain dance in advance of this Superpole race this morning. You can see damp conditions on the grid, and down there to soak it all up, particularly if it rains in a couple of moments' time, is Anthony Nelson.
I'm here with World SBK Executive Director Gregorio Lavilla, and Greg, a huge milestone, a big, important moment for the championship. Please share your thoughts ahead of this 1,000th race.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, no? We are very proud to have reached this important milestone in Superbike. These 37 years from 1988 has brought us unbelievable racing, and I've been part of it as a rider, and now in this position in the championship. But especially it's to thank everyone that made this possible happen: fans, riders, manufacturers, everyone involved. I think it's a moment to enjoy, and let's hope that this historic race as well is bringing exciting racing.
Oh, let's hope for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, I don't think there's much doubt, and if there was any doubt, then the conditions almost guarantee us a good race coming up, so plenty to look forward to here as we complete the 3rd row of the grid with Alex Lowes. Remember, he was 12th in Superpole, his worst since Cremona, but of those outside the top 9 originally, he's best placed to make some progress in this one. He rode to a strong 6th place yesterday, and obviously promoted on up the grid after those withdrawals. This is row number 4, Dominic Egerton, Bahattin Foglu and Ryan Vickers. And again, for those outside of the top 9 places, an opportunity to make further progress for their race 2 starting position. And for those in the lower order, the best chances that they're going to get in a Superpole race over just 10 laps, because it's notoriously difficult to get into the top 9, but we are down a few riders. It's a 19-rider grid now. 9 of them will score. We've got 10 laps to settle it. It is World SBK's 1,000th race.